Hey everybody, this is Rex Kowalski with STURRDRUM Studios, and this is Paleo Files Q&A for Episode 1, Terrible Claw, otherwise known as Deinonychus. Alright, so I appreciate everybody going and sending messages through Facebook and also our email program we have going on right now. I want to go ahead and throw this out there that we are no longer going to be taking messages from Facebook. We're only going to be taking them from the Yahoo account. So, if you do have any future questions on any of the future episodes, then go ahead and send an email to askpaleo@yahoo.com. That is askpaleo@yahoo.com. Go ahead and send us an email, and if you're lucky, you'll be able to get your message actually answered. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start right off, and we're gonna try to get these things done. We have a lot of questions here. We have about 35 to 40 questions, but I'm gonna narrow it down to 10. So I'm just gonna go through the email real quick, and we're just gonna pick some, and I'm gonna answer your questions. So hopefully your question does get answered. And we're gonna go ahead and get started now with John from North Carolina. Okay, so when you're emailing, go ahead and put your first name. Not sure if I said this already. Put your first name, put the put the state that you live in along with your city. Because more than likely I'm not going to be able to pronounce your last name, and I do apologize for that. Okay, so John from North Carolina. Hey John, how are you? This is the very first question. It says, who was bigger, Deinonychus or Utah Raptor? And did Deinonychus hunt in packs? Fantastic question. I'll answer that right away. So, was Deinonychus or Utah bigger? Utah was bigger. You can look through the fossil record and you can tell Utah Raptor was a lot bigger. Anywhere between six and 7, maybe even 8 feet tall if we can actually find some deposit. But as of right now, yes, definitely Utah Raptor is bigger, got bigger sickle claws, got a bigger skull, all kinds of, I mean, this thing was massive compared to Deinonychus, but Deinonychus got to where it was about 4 to 5 foot, maybe 6 foot tall, which is the portrayal of Jurassic Park's Velociraptor is Deinonychus. So, yeah, that animal was smaller, but still, if either one was chasing you, it'd still be terrifying. Doesn't matter how big they are. And we're gonna do. Did they hunt in packs? So yes and no. I've thought about this. I've talked to other paleontologists about this as well. Some people think they do. Some people they think they don't. My theory is because of the discovery of John Ostrom's Deinonychus pile. His block had a lot of Deinonychus in it, along with a Tenontosaurus. Now, that Tenontosaurus was a lot bigger than the Deinonychus. So, what I believe is that the Deinonychus got together to take down a bigger prey animal. And so, yeah, if you're in an area where you have smaller prey, like small reptiles or small theropods or any type of small animal, then I wouldn't see it being necessary for them to hunt in packs. But with something bigger than them, then I could see it, because you can see that with lions too. They pack hunt as well on things that are bigger than them. So, yes and no on that question. I hope that answers it. Also, in that block from John Ostrom, you're able to see that there was a Deinonychus that was literally crushed by it seemed like the Tenontosaurus had fallen on top of this Deinonychus and shattered the bones to pieces on impact, because of the hollow bones are so fragile. So, yeah, I can definitely see them going after bigger prey together. But for smaller prey, I don't see them. I don't see a need in them being in a pack. Okay, number 2, Robert from Abilene, Texas. Hey, Robert. This is, why did John Ostrom give Deinonychus the name after Terrible Claw? Well, So Barnum Brown actually found Deinonychus, with a lot of other species of dinosaurs that he found, skeletons. And this one was, they weren't sure 100%. It could have been a dromaeosaur or a American version of a velociraptor. But when he actually found the block, he really studied the bones, and he studied the fossils from Barnum Brown as well. And he noticed that the skull structure was completely different. He also noticed that some of the bone structures were a little bit different. And he could tell that these were, if not fully grown, almost fully grown adults. And the sickle-like claw was a lot bigger. So that gave him the name Terrible Claw, in Latin, meaning Deinonychus. So that's where he got the name. Okay, Sarah from Nashville, Tennessee. Hey, Sarah. I am not sure if this question was answered or not in the episode, but how do we know that Deinonychus had feathers? That brilliant question. I'm glad you asked that. So we know for a fact that the dromaeosaur species, a lot of different dromaeosaur species had feathers, from fossil evidence of it, imprints and all that. And in Mongolia, the formations really preserve those feathers compared to like some areas in North America. Some of the formations they can't really preserve that well. So yes, we do know that because of their cousins and their relatives, we believe that Deinonychus definitely had feathers. I'm not sure if we have found a specimen yet that has feathers on them, but we're really certain that Deinonychus definitely had feathers, just like its other family in the family tree of dromaeosaurs. Okay, Stephen from Sydney, Australia. My goodness, I did not know that my episodes went that far. Thank you guys so much for watching these. Whew, man. Okay, that's awesome. So your question, Stephen, is if it is true that Deinonychus, along with other raptors, could not rotate their wrist, why do they have them portrayed in Jurassic Park with them down? And is it true that if they did have them rotated, they would be broken? I love your content and cannot wait for more episodes. Thank you so much. Oh, man. Stephen, thank you. I really do appreciate the fact that you really love my episodes. It just gives me more motivation to keep going with these episodes and keep teaching you guys different species and to the core of very different evidence for these species, so you can get a full around picture of these species rather than just a 30-minute or an hour long video of like 50 different species and trying to cram them all into one episode. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. So the question is, why were they rotated downward versus how they're actually portrayed in real life? So my answer to that is Hollywood. That's my simple answer. So I think that they pictured Deinonychus along with a lot of the other carnivores in the Jurassic Park series as having them down because, I mean, let's be honest here. They look more terrifying down than if they were side to side. But in real life, if they were like that, yes, a lot of people think that they would be broken. And that is true. And the reason why I say that is because they do not have the same bone structure in the hands and the wrists that we humans do, or a lot of mammals do. We can do full circles. We can turn them all kinds of ways, and so yeah, that's the reason why. If they just turn them even slightly, they would break. You can see that in a lot of modern day birds as well. Take for instance a chicken or something. If you look at the skeletal structure of that wing bone right there, you can't turn that. The only way for those hands to face down is the arms would literally have to pick up way to the back, exposing the chest area with the arms way out for them to actually rotate downward. And it has a lot to do with flight. That was the evolutionary strain into flight. Okay, the next one is Johanna from Los Angeles, California. Okay, cool. So her question is, did Deinonychus evolve directly into birds? Well, so no, not necessarily. There are different clades within that family tree. And so you have like oviraptors, which very very bird-like, and then you have dromaeosaurs, also very very bird-like, and then you had birds like or birds, pretty much, like Archaeopteryx, these dromaeosaur type species like Archaeopteryx and all these Maniraptorans that actually became birds. So there was a certain branch that broke off of the dromaeosaurs that became our modern day birds. And because they're so small, they were actually able to, go past the KT boundary extinction. And they're the only ones so far that we have seen that actually made it past the KT boundary. Okay, Richard from Cleveland, Ohio. Uh, let's see. Seeing as how more than likely Deinonychus had feathers or proto feathers. Ooh, good choice of words. Do you know what colors they would have been? Yes, we do know what colors they could have been. So the pigments in the fossilized feathers that we have found, you can find the pigments of white, brown, black, um, and we have we're thinking that there could have been some blues and possibly reds. Not very sure on the reds, but we do know for certain that there was white, brown, and blacks. Okay, let's see. Ben from Salem, Massachusetts. Hey Rex, I hope you're having a blast making these episodes. Yeah, I am. I'm having a fantastic time doing these episodes. So my question is, were Deinonychus pack hunters? I think I already answered that question if I'm not 100% sure, but yes, I do think half and half. They were, but they weren't. So, like a Tenontosaurus, if they were going to go after a bigger prey, they probably would have gotten together to be able to take down that animal so that way they can actually continue on with their species. But for smaller prey and all that, I don't see them really becoming pack hunters. Kind of like packs of wolves. They're always together. I don't think that Deinonychus stayed together just because we have only found one block of Deinonychus all together at one time. I think that there was a problem with the food line, the food chain, and they had to group together to be able to continue and live on. Okay, Stephanie from Abita Springs, Louisiana. Okay, Abita Springs, Louisiana is fantastic. If you guys have not been there, you need to go. I went there about 3 or 4 years ago. It was a vacation. I took my now wife, at the time she was just my girlfriend, took her there because she loves Louisiana. We both love Louisiana. We do want to move there at some point in time. And we actually stayed in Abita Springs, Louisiana. That is fantastic. And then I proposed to her in New Orleans as well that same week. And that was a blast for her. She loved it. That was her dream. So, the question is, hello Rex. Hey Stephanie. I have two questions. One, how smart was Deinonychus in comparison to other dinos? Okay, so I'm going to answer, there's two questions here. I'm going to answer one at a time here. So, your first one is Deinonychus, how smart was Deinonychus? Well, way smarter than Stegosaurus, you could put it that way. I'm not saying Stegosaurus was dumb, but the complexity of the way that the brain actually operates, Deinonychus was probably almost as smart, if not as smart, almost as smart, if not as smart as Troodon. And Troodon, for a dinosaur, was very brilliant. So that is where I stand with that. Very, very smart, but it's the animal's not smarter than the average human. Let's put it that way. Probably about as smart as your average dog. So, that being said, dogs are still smart. Dogs know their owners. And so, I think that I think that's still okay. They are still pretty smart. 2. Will you be making another trip out to Louisiana? I would love to interview you about paleontology for a school paper I will be needing finished by the end of this school year. Thank you and hope to hear from you soon. Well, I would love to be part of your interview for paleontology for your school. I don't know if you're in high school, college, middle school, even elementary. I'm not sure. But the best way to get in touch with me is to send another email to askpaleo@yahoo.com. That would be the best way to do it. And I would more than happy help you, but I'm not sure with, work and all that, whether or not I'm going to be making a trip later on this year or before the end of your actual school year, or if it's going to be sometime later. I have no idea right now. But I will gladly help you via email. So go ahead and send me an email and I will get back with you as soon as I can. Chris from Ely, Minnesota. Ely, Minnesota is beautiful. I love it there, and I heard that your state bird is the mosquito. I've been there a couple times before, and I love it there. It's great. So it says, did Deinonychus ever come into conflict with T-Rex? And if so, who would win in a battle? I do not think that Deinonychus was in the same area as Tyrannosaurus Rex. They may have at the very beginning when Tyrannosaurus Rex came onto the scene, but I don't think that Deinonychus would have many conflicts, because I believe that the Tyrannosaurus Rex would have had more of a conflict with maybe Dromaeosaurus than Deinonychus. So if they got into a conflict, then I could see the Tyrannosaurus Rex definitely winning. Doesn't matter if Deinonychus was in a pack or not. Tyrannosaurus Rex is just a bigger dude. Just a bigger dinosaur. A smarter dinosaur at that. And I just don't think that Deinonychus would win. Plus, if it was in real life and not a Jurassic Park scenario, then Tyrannosaurus Rex would actually just scare the Deinonychus off. The Deinonychus would not want to try to take on something that big, because they're not worried about, should I fight him? No, they're worried about getting food and surviving. And if something is bigger than them, they're going to try to get out as soon as they can. Because if they injure themselves even just a little bit, even a sprained ankle or something, that could change their life entirely. They can definitely die from that. Thank you guys so much. If you do have any more questions, please feel free to email us again at askpaleo@yahoo.com. That is askpaleo@yahoo.com. And I really hope to hear from you guys from our next episode. That is episode 2, Tyrant Lizard King. One of the best episodes we've done so far. And continue to keep watching. And if you do have any other questions, please feel free to email us. Thank you so much again for watching. And this is Rex with STURRDRUM Studios, Paleo Files, Episode 1, Terrible Claw, Deinonychus. Signing out.